And now, all systems go.
We have a go for main engine start.
One, we have booster ignition and liftoff.
The L.A. Lloyd Rock Countdown. Here's your host, L.A. Lloyd.
How you doing? It's L.A. Lloyd, and I was kind of going through the archives for the Rock Countdown to see when was the last time I hung out with Vinnie Paul. And man, it was a long time. I believe that was on the Family Values Tour in San Antonio back in 07. So 5 damn years, man. It's been a long time.
5 years, man. It seems like last week.
I know, man.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Well, good to have you back on the show, my
Great
friend.
to be back.
Well, the Band of Brothers, man, when you listen to it, no denying this album has got you guys back to the core of pretty much what made each of you individually. So I guess, was that kind of the plan? You'd had a chance to experiment on the last couple of albums, and this one is like, man, let's just get back and do what we do.
And I mean, here comes the big Harleys.
Yeah,
right
I like
there.
that in the background.
Hey, nice background noise. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. The first two records were really a great way for us to step outside the box and do something different than what we'd done in our past, and we really purposely avoided things that were reminiscent of our previous bands, and we kind of got that out of our system, and we decided, let's get back to our roots, which is heavy metal. We all come from heavy metal bands, and let's bring those elements that we were part of with our other bands into this band and see what happens. And we end up with Band of Brothers, a really kick-ass heavy record, and we're really proud of it.
No doubt about it, man. Well, something I saw, I kind of went back and watched a few of your interviews, and I heard the first concert you ever went to was Boston and Sammy Hagar in
Boston
78.
Sammy Hagar.
Now, I know that one pretty much had a profound effect on you, but I guess my question is, I mean, I know you're thinking about so many different things when you're on stage, but does that ever kind of cross your mind, thinking that there might be that one kid out there seeing his first concert for the first time, and it'd be nice to have that same everlasting effect as well, man?
I have never thought of that once, but I promise you I'm going to think about it tonight on stage. You gave me something to think about, man. That's pretty cool, man. No,
Yeah.
I've never thought of that, man. When you're on stage, you're just up there doing your thing, and you're in the moment and everything. But, it was a very special moment for me. It definitely inspired me to just be a rocker my entire life and, turn into what I turned into. And I'm still a fan. I still go to shows all the time.
What was it about that show that really stuck with you, that really kind of provoked you to do what you do today, man?
The one thing that freaked me out early on is all the people just smoking weed out in the crowd, man. That freaked me completely out, man, because I didn't do any of that stuff. I was 14, straight-laced, and it flipped me out. But I just remember that both bands were just really fantastic. I was a huge Hagar fan. This was before he ended up in Van Halen, and the Red album had just come out, and I was more a fan of him than Boston at the time. And then when Boston played, I became just as big a fan of them.
Right.
And then the next concert I went to, me and my brother went to our first concert together, which was Alice Cooper, Legs Diamond, and the Babies.
Wow.
What a wild concert that was. Yeah. And that was just as sick and just a whole nother level. So from that point on, man, we just had a yearning to go to concerts, and, it just propelled us to play our instruments better and to keep practicing, and hopefully someday we'd get to that point.
So funny you mentioned that tour. I actually saw Boston, but it was with Black Oak, Arkansas, and Toto.
Right on.
So
That's a weird one.
It was some diverse talent going on back then, man, in the 70s, dude. One of my favorite things about Hell Yeah is not only is it cool, to jam out when you're driving, but also when you're hanging out with your buds in the background. And it kind of goes to that Band of Brothers thing. It's beer, it's barbecue, man. And I know you're a Texas guy, and you were raised on that Texas barbecue. And are you one of these barbecue guys that you like to sample when you're on tour, to kind of get the different styles? Because I'm telling you, no matter where you go, their barbecue's the best in the world. So do you get a chance to do that?
They will tell you it's the best anywhere you go, but I still stay by Texas barbecue all the way, man. It's a beautiful thing. Barbecue's great everywhere. It's really something that's a passion. People really have a passion for, and they're really proud of it. And, it's almost like playing music. It's a way to entertain people. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Well, you guys don't really take a lot of bells and whistles on the road with you because, you don't need them, actually. So with that said, I mean, do you still have to put a lot of rehearsal time before you guys hit the road? Because, I mean, it's not like you got to worry about this and that. I mean, you guys are pretty bare bone out there,
It's all about us, the fans, the music, and the circle of energy that we give each other back and forth. Man.
Yeah.
That's all it really takes. And then, if someday we ever get to a level where we can bring more of a show to the stage, we'll do it. But right now, it's really about the roots, and that's the music and the fans and us.
Something Tom Axwell said, he said, referring to the album, you can really hear Vinny's drums and his style on this album. Not that it wasn't prevalent in the past, too, but maybe that kind of goes back to just, each of you individually bringing back a little bit of that metalcore. You think that's what he's talking about there?
Very important. Like I said, the first two Hell Yeah records, I purposely strayed away from the drum sound that people were familiar with me having in Pantera. I created that drum sound. It's my drum sound, and I wanted to go back to that. The guys wanted me to go back to that. They kind of wanted to go back to doing the same things that they did in their other bands, just bring it into this. And really, I think this is what people expected from Hell Yeah from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last time you were on the show 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Feels like yesterday.
Was, your familiar groove. And no matter who you've played with, I mean, you always kind of have that as you just talked about then. I mean, was it always that first Boston show you talked about that kind of influenced that groove, or was it another genre as you were even younger than that? Or what do you think it was the backbone of that groove?
I really think being from Texas has a lot to do with it. I really do. Me and my brother grew up listening to a healthy dose of ZZ Top and Stevie Ray and stuff like that. And, of course, we were huge metalheads. But that just something about that southern bluesy feel ran through our music, and it was really important to us. And I've always believed that the groove's the most important element of a song, next to the lyrics. But, if you got a groove, you got a song, basically. And so I've always tried to incorporate that. I've never wanted my drumming to be so busy that it just turns into a drummer's drum world. It's got to have a groove to it.
Something kind of cool happened to me right here at this venue a couple of weeks ago. I was interviewing Mark Tremonti. Had no idea that Wolfgang Van Halen is his bass player now, and so he came in. I got to meet him, and how cool was that? And one thing I read was how excited you were about the new Van Halen album, Tattoo. I mean, that brought back a lot of memories, right?
I got to say, man, it made me feel like I was in high school again. You know, I mean. Minus Tattoo. I mean, Tattoo's cool. It doesn't really bother me like it does some people, but the rest of the record, man, it just slams from start to finish. I think it's some of the best playing Eddie and Alex has ever done. And, the lyrics are totally David Lee Roth with all his little coy cliches and phrases and everything. And, Stay Frosty. I mean, come on. That is the drinking anthem of the year. I mean, it's a cool record, man. It really brought me back to my past, and I hope they continue on because I'm a huge fan of that band, always have been. And I like the new Kiss, too, man. I think it's awesome.
We had Gene Simmons on just a few weeks ago from the Viper Room. I guess the million-dollar question, man, you said you saw Hagar there on the first show, so you're a Hagar Halen guy or David Lee Roth Halen guy?
I have to stand on the fence, man. I love them both, man. I think they're both absolutely awesome, and it's hard to get me to lean one way or the other. Although Sammy's a very good friend of mine, I did miss his birthday in Cabo this year because the tour had started. Which I was disappointed in, but I got to play with him at the Vegas Rocks Music Awards. It was really cool. It was Michael Anthony played bass, Michael Schenker played guitar, Sammy sang, and I played drums, and we did Rock Candy and One Way to Rock, and we brought the roof down to about 5,000 people there in Vegas. It was awesome.
Never met David Lee Roth, but I always have to say Sammy is probably one of the nicest guys you ever come.
As far as just an all-around great dude, he's an amazing human being, man. Great dude.
Well, no big surprise to see you, out at a show. Sometimes I see you when you're off the road. If I was visiting Dallas, I'd see you out there. It might be a small club show where there's 100 people or at a huge arena show. So with that said, I mean, while you were off the road, any club shows or major arena shows that you've seen just this year that really stands out for you as a fan?
There's several, man. But, I mean, Michael Schenker was amazing. I think the highlight of my life this year was going to see the Kiss Motley Crue show.
Is that right?
In Dallas. And they put me on second row, and I usually don't get that close. I have a hard time going in the crowd. People recognize me. And I snuck in after about the third song, so only a handful of people recognize me. And the next thing I know, I see Gene pointing at me, Tommy points at me. I look up, and I notice Eric notices me. And then at the end of the song, Paul Stanley points right down at me. They put me on the video camera, and he goes, "Dallas, Texas, we got rock and roll royalty in the house tonight. Your own Vinnie Paul," and points right at me, and the whole place just roared.
I can imagine.
I turn around, there's 20,000 people going crazy. I see myself on the big screen. I'm like,
wow.
Thanks, Paul. I'm not getting out of this place tonight alive, man.
That's very cool that he did that, man. I wanted to talk about the latest song on the countdown, Drink, Drink, Drunk, which is such a great title. It's so hell yeah. So tell us a little bit about this song before we play.
I mean, it said it all, man. It's an anthem for all us drinkers, people that like to party, like to have a good time. I mean, there's an art to it. There's a skill to it, man, and you usually don't stop till you fall down, man. So that's kind of what the song's all about. And, we do encourage you to drink responsibly, but just find a good place to crash when you knock yourself out. Don't be driving, get you a designated driver and have all the fun you want.
And if you're a band, just get your own recording studio and you never have to leave the house.
There
right?
you go.
All right. Band of Brothers, the leadoff single. I mean, I can't think of a better name to summarize what Hell Yeah is made up of. But, tell us about this song as well before we play this song.
We really felt like this song, or the album itself, we had really grown together as a band. You know, this is our third record. Most bands don't really hit their stride till their third or fourth record, and we really feel like we came into our own. And the title is about us, but it even goes deeper. It's about our audience, man. We're all in this together, you know? And everybody that loves music supports music. We need each other even more than ever. The way, you know, the internet has kind of robbed us of a lot of our sources of income and this and that and the other. So it's just a song about all of us having unity in the metal community, so to speak.
You know, something you've said as far as, you know, hey, what does hell yeah mean? Well, it's a definitive yes. It's hell yeah. I mean, the thing that I find is after all these years and all these band names, how in the heck you guys managed to be the only ones to think of it? I mean, did you have was somebody else had that and you had to battle a name thing, or how did you come up with the rights to that?
You know, it's a crazy story. We were making the record and we were about 4 songs in, and there was this amp box outside the studio, and this was at Dom's place where we made the record, and we had a bunch of different ideas that were running, and Chad said, look, I don't care what you think of, just write it down on this box. I don't care if it's green dildo, flying saucer, whatever it is. You know, just write it on this box. And one day he walked by the box and looked down, and somebody had written hell yeah on there. And to this day, nobody knows who wrote it. And he called us all in the room. He goes, I got it. I got the band name. Hell yeah. And we all looked at each other and went, hell yeah. And then, you know, we went to do the research on it and everything, and there was one band called the Hell Yeahs at one point, and you know, we had to buy the rights from them to have it, but it wasn't any big battle or anything, so we kind of got lucky when we came across the name, because there's so many, you know, Into the Sun or After the Weekend names for bands now, because there's not very many one words or, you know, those kind of things left.
That's it. Final question. You were here talking about trying to get a bar there in Vegas, and this was 5 years ago. And at the time, you're like, LA, you would not believe the bullshit, red tape politics you have to go to get permits and get, you know, a club in Vegas. So, with that said, did you get it?
We managed to get it, man. Yeah, it's called Chicas Bonitas, man. We got one in Austin, Texas, too. One in Dallas. It's the finest in adult Latino entertainment. Nice. And you know, basically caters to the people that built this country, and we're the number one Corona seller. We got soccer on all the time, and we got tons of fucking chicks, and they go crazy, and it's a blast. And you know, they come in and see my Pantera memorabilia and all that stuff, and it's really exciting. And then I plan on opening another clubhouse in Vegas at some point, but those strip bars are really saturated out there right now. You know, I know you guys got quite a few here too. Yeah. And then the guy had to just stop right here in front of our interview.
Just the perfect soundtrack.
This is great. Brad Out comes in, he goes, man, we got this nice quiet spot right back there between the trailer and the trucks. You'll love it. And I get back here and not one noise. And the minute we start the interview, 15 cars and Harleys come blowing by.
But
it's awesome.
Couldn't be better, man.
That's only rock and roll, right?
Absolutely. Well, make sure you get the album Band of Brothers that's out there. And I guess you guys are going to be rolling right on through the end of the year and into 2013.
Yeah, man. We after today, we take off on a headline jaunt towards the West Coast, head up, go all over Canada, which is going to be amazing in November. Lots of snow. And then we come down the East Coast on our own, and we hook up with Lamb of God on November 17th, and we go with them all the way to the end of the year. So this year's looking great towards the end of the year, and then next year we plan on being out and doing a lot more stuff.
And that's another thing. So glad to see the Lamb of God got through all that bullshit. And
it ain't over yet, man, but it's nice to see him getting out. You know, it's a really bad situation for everybody involved, and Randy's a really good friend of ours, and you know, we're just going to support him in every way we can.
Absolutely, man. Thanks again for being on the Rock Countdown.
Hell yeah, love it.